the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California has won the big game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnop.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Hey, good morning. How are you? There we go. All the show settings are now correct. It is a Tuesday here on the program. Hit us up in the McClellan Chiropractic chat room. Also on the professional door text line 540-391-0788. Long day on Monday. Culminating in the Radford Western Illinois basketball game. Both Radford and Tech win last night. Radford wins by 5 over Western Illinois. Virginia Tech knocked off Charleston Southern at home in their debut. So we had a couple of successful home games. Good morning, Jim. How are you? Good morning, Opal. Hope everybody's doing okay. Yeah, hit us up. Let us know how you're doing here on a Tuesday. And for early November, I believe the weather's supposed to be decent. Yeah, 60 degrees, sunny. We'll take it. We'll take it. Good morning, Hokie Rocks. And hey, Morris from Tokyo. It's afternoon there. From Tokyo One's vending machine for 23 people to Giles County's one pickup truck per household. BDST is on the air. 8 p.m. Okay. Ready to crank it up at dinner time. I knew there was a big difference from when the Highlanders played there. And Morris sent some great pictures of them over there in Japan. It's awesome. Waiting on those subscribers there, Morris. Let me know. Let me know if you get like a BDST watch party with some of the locals. That'd be great. And maybe they have the TVs up in some of the places and you can how we go to sports bars here and watch football. Maybe they can put the show up. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great? Snow next week, Opal? Don't tell me that. I don't want to hear that. I'm telling everyone that I can find a Tokyo subscribe. He says it's his Giles County accent. They don't understand. Yeah, I don't know, SWV. I don't know. I sound spotty. I don't see anything on my end. Unfortunately, we are slaves to the internet, right? So I don't see anything. I do not see anything. So yeah. Yeah, it is voting day, Stephen. It is. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. It looks good on my end. I'm not hearing anything. So you guys let me know. You guys let me know what you got. All right? Let me know. Just let me know. All right, so A lot went on yesterday, even though nothing went on with the Virginia Tech job. So lots of things happened yesterday, even though nothing really happened. Virginia Tech is all in on James Franklin. He's been really the only candidate they've spoken to. They have succumbed to every wish Jimmy Sexton requested, the agent for James Franklin. And James Franklin is still trying to delay signing a contract because he is now feeling out the Florida State situation. Auburn is not interested in him. That's the one job that we talked about, but Jimmy Sexton has realized that Auburn's not going to go in that direction. So that helped Virginia Tech, which I think that's where some of the rumors were coming out yesterday. But Tech has done everything that they've been asked to do. I do know that. At one point yesterday, I was told by my source, my Big Ten source, that Tech was going to announce no later than today, which would make sense the day after the basketball game. I don't know where that sits now. If Virginia Tech's willing to be patient, I don't know. I don't know what to say. But I do know that this whole thing is going to require a little more patience, because I think at the end of the day, Franklin's going to realize that Virginia Tech is his best destination. I really do. Paul says, morning, thank God, no more stupid political comments after today. I don't know. Let me tell you what. Let me, since I'm not seeing anything on my end, let me get out of the studio and come back. Hang on just a second. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Do not know what to tell you. If I go off here, let me reconnect. Let me just see what. Up there. Don't know why. I'm not complaining. Try this. Let me know how this works. So I went out and came back in, guys and gals. Let me know. Let me know how that does. Yeah, let me know. Let me know if that helped any. All right. So let me know if that helped any. Out and back in there. But I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I could get out completely and reboot, but that would take about 10, 15 minutes. Is that any better? Just let me know. Let me know. Yeah, you got to see Susanna again. Yeah, so I went back in. What I did, I went back into yesterday's studio. That's why Susanna was still up there. So I figured if that one worked well, maybe it was something with today's setup. But I'm not seeing any breakup on my end. I'm not hearing anything. So I don't know. They do not know. I'm sure it's on my end, though. So my apologies. I know it's not everybody else's internet. So is that any better at all? Just let me know in chat if that's any better whatsoever. Big news, by the way. We talk about being presented by Pulaski County. And, honored to be presented by Pulaski County Sports Entertainment. They have plans. They've announced plans to reopen Pulaski County Motorsports Park in 2026. How about that? I knew they were going to have a big announcement. So Pulaski County Sports Entertainment Authority announced yesterday they're going to open up Pulaski County Motorsports Park and bring racing back to the Speedway and Dragway for 2026. How about that? That is pretty cool. So that's one of the things we've been talking about, and now they got it done, and it's been a long time. Long time. It is better? Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I'm connected the way I always am. Who knows? It could be one of those morning things. So I guess we're just going to have to deal with it. So congratulations to Tim Miller and everybody. That's great. Awesome stuff. Also, go see Travis Williams Professional Door Incorporated. They're looking for people. Just walk in and say, hey, they do garage doors better than anybody, and they've expanded their business. So go up there if you want a career, and they can turn it into a career. If you're willing to work hard, you don't have to have any experience. Just go and talk to Travis. All right? Just go get it done. Just go get it done. National Bank, exclusive banking partner of, well, yours truly for 35 years and of BDST. So Lara and Sean last night at the basketball game. Our BDST fan question of the week, brought to you by the attorney Ryan Pride. Do you think Tech will be able to close on James Franklin? Right? Do you think Virginia Tech will be able to close on James Franklin? That's our BDST fan question of the week. Charles Lee, Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg. Chilly in the morning, chilly at night. Go see them. We mentioned Mark Hundley and everybody, Family Fencing Studios here, and Jason Green. They're going to be working out through the winter. Go get your free quote, 540-200-8294. And Mark Hundley at McClellan Chiropractic, the sponsor of our chat room. Go see Mark if you have problems with your back or whatever else might be on. It's not you, it's me. NRV Super Bowl's around for 25 years. Give them a call. Reserve your lane today, 540-382-5525. Go see James Lawson at Lawson's Mobile Homes as well. 540-381-8011. And yesterday we started a brand new sponsor here on the program, the Ready Set Fund. So go see those folks and figure out if you want to raise some money for your local high school team and all those things. There it is, readysetfund.com. Reach out to Bob Christ, BobChrist11, BobChrist11 at gmail.com. The profit percentage has been raised to 90%. That's tops in the industry. They have no upfront cost to use their service. Go to readysetfund.com. Again, the Floyd County High School softball team raised over $4,000 in 1 week through Ready Set Fund. So we're all about trying to help out local folks, and that seems like it's something that, would be really, really advantageous to you. So is the whole thing still slow? I don't know. I mean, I can reboot, but if I reboot, I'm going to be gone 20 minutes or so. I mean, that's what it's going to take. So just let me know. I'm not seeing anything on my end, so it's frustrating to me because I can't really fix it because I can't tell what's going on. I guess what I'm asking is it watchable before we jump into our guests? I mean, I can reboot the internet. I can do all that, but it's going to take some time. I mean, I don't mind doing it, but you just let me know. Let me know what you prefer. No scheduled press conference. That would have been a big announcement yesterday. And the thing that was this shows you how ridiculous some of these rumors are. Some of these things are. There were people that were going on X yesterday, people who have tech sites. I don't know if they're podcasts or what they are, trying to claim that they were going to introduce Franklin last night at the basketball game. And that's not how things work in anybody's reality. that you're not going to sit there and introduce a coach before you've had a press conference introducing the coach. What you see when these coaches go to basketball games is they've been introduced earlier that day. They've got their contract signed. They've had the presser. And then they might bring them out at halftime. Hey, everybody, just wanted to follow up. I'm here. You're not going to sit there without any announcement and then unleash this person. And I couldn't believe how many people thought it was going to happen. And I'm just sitting there going, that's not how anything works. But okay, you do you. Yep. We're not going to have an official press conference and take that event away from the athletic department. We're just going to bring him out here and let him wave at the crowd. Well, hopefully it'll work itself out. Thanks, Opal. Hopefully it'll work itself out. Y'all let me know. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I thought it was a joke. I thought somebody was just trying to troll. And then people kept putting out posts with the eye emojis like, oh, watch out for tonight. And I'm like, for what? What do you expect is going to happen? Nothing. That's not going to happen. Hey, I don't know. Richie Davis says you should just go reboot and come back at 6:45. I mean, I can reboot it all. I can do that. Let me try that and see what happens. Let me do the BRB and try that. So I don't know what's going on. See, I'll be right back. Hang on just a second here. Let me put on some music. Let me put on some music for you while you wait. What do y'all want to hear? You want to hear some dance pop? There we go. Listen to some music. Let me go try to fix this real quick. All right, let me know. I'm back. Is that any better? Okay. I have no idea. There's not much else I can do. If it's still messed up, it's just one of those days here where either they're working on something or something's just not working. Can you hear me now? Can anyone hear me in any way, shape, or form? Are we good? I hear the dance pop music. Let me try to send a message here in comments and see. There we go. We good to go now? Hey, my test works, so I guess I'm back. Well, I rebooted everything, so now if it doesn't work, then we're just going to have to deal with it because it happens. You know, I would feel bad, but you know, when I'm watching shows all day long on YouTube. This happens all the time. Sometimes it's not necessarily the internet; it's just everything together. All right, Jason says, good morning. Still choppy? Well, I don't know what the hell else to do. There's nothing else I can do. Internet was rebooted, computer, StreamYard rebooted. So I can't really do anything. I think it's just one of those mornings. They're probably working on something that we weren't told about. I'll say this, though. This is the first time now, we'll be, 3 months in second week in November? Whoa, what is that? I got like a bunch of stuff popped up on the computer. There we go. Now it's gone. Okay. I haven't really had any internet issues since this whole system got introduced. Oh, it's pretty cool. Anyway, not much else I can do, gang. My apologies. It happens sometimes. Again, it's just one of those things, right? One of those things. So anyway, getting back to Franklin. So that was the rumor that went around yesterday that people were trying to put across. I don't know why people think that that is something that would make any sense. And this is why I never try to come on unless I have things from people I trust. There's a lot of things I've heard that I don't share because I think a lot of it's not real. But, I'm told that Franklin wants to long play this. And here's the concern you should have. He understands the tech job is there for his taking. It is. They haven't talked to these other candidates that have coaching jobs that they like because they have coaching jobs. That's a no-no. You don't just bring in, John Summerall from Tulane. Oh, I've got a game this week, but I'll be glad to talk to the people from Blacksburg. Brandon, BDST got the best customer service turnaround on the planet. Average 20-minute fix. Took 3 minutes. Remarkable. Thanks, Brandon. Yeah, it's great when you know where everything is. And I'll tell you this, like I said, 3 months. This is the first time we've had anything happen. Folks, when I was on the radio station, something would happen almost every day. I would be told the streaming service was down. I'd be told that the signal's not working. I'd have to reboot the computer, the tower. So this has been much better. This whole foreign world of YouTube. I'll take one faux pas in 3 months as opposed to every day. Hey, I meant to tell you your stream's not working. Huh? Oh, your signal's only at, how many times I went in at WRED and they told me that the signal is only like 40% strength. And then people would hit me up. Hey, we can't hear you in Withville. What? Yeah. So, yeah. So anyway, Franklin, here's the red flag. And this is kind of what I've been trying to tell people. because I don't want to rain on anybody's parade. And look, I still think if you got James Franklin, it's going to be a win because he's going to win, and he's going to flip the talent level almost immediately at Tech. But sound like an incoherent politician, so we're kind of used to it anyways. Thanks, Okie Rocks. So I'm just fitting right in with election day is what you're telling me. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe somebody's messing with the internet because it's election day. Maybe that's what it is. So the concerns that I've had about Franklin are kind of showing through with what I've been told about these negotiations, right? His ego is I don't think you can quantify how massive his ego is. And my whole concern is, how does he settle into this job and get along with people? How does he feel out about, how does he react to the media? I don't think it's going to be something you're going to like. You won't care if they win. You're not going to care. And, you know, he should win. I don't know how much or when that would happen, but I don't think it would take too long. But I think if you're a Tech fan, you've done everything. And trust me, everybody's going to want to blame Tech. And there's a lot that they can be blamed about, like the whole Whit Babcock thing. But they've done everything right in this negotiation. James Franklin is their guy. James Franklin is their guy. But is Virginia Tech his choice? Apparently, he knows it's there for him, but he's still trying to long play this. Auburn said no, but Florida State's another job that he covets. It's not open yet. So the speculation is that he's gotten some intel that they would be interested in him. So this is what I was talking about. It's starting to show through already, right? I know you want me. You've given me everything I've wanted, but tell you what, why don't you just wait? Why don't you just wait a little bit? David says it's all these hackers taking up bandwidth trying to get into the voting machines. Maybe so. Maybe so. So I think, again, ultimately, I think Franklin's going to discover that he's not as desired by other places as he is in Blacksburg. But it's already creating sort of a bitter mindset for me. Like, he knows he's got the Tech job, but he wants to drag it out a little longer. Now, Tech may just finally go, you know what? And they should. They should. Virginia Tech's a really good job. It's a really good job. They deserve more respect than what I've been told what's going on. If this doesn't happen, it's not because of Virginia Tech. And I hope people understand that. But at some point, you have to move on. The problem is, I don't know who you move on to right now. There's 3 more games, about a month left of the season. How are you going to go? You can't talk to other people. The mad scramble is going to happen, though, which is another reason Tech wants to get this done quickly, because you're going to have a bunch of schools go after a bunch of coaches, and these agents are going to have just a field day as soon as the season ends. And now that Jimmy Sexton has gotten Tech to the point where they've given everything that they've asked for as conditions, they know they've got the Tech job waiting on them. So now, do they go ahead and finally say enough's enough, we're going to come to Blacksburg, or are they going to continue to drag this out? And my source says that he wants to drag this out. He wants to make Tech wait until he gets more intel. So here's the thing. It's like, he's basically behind the scene. Now, they know this. The Tech committee knows this. Bud and Bruce, they know this. This isn't public knowledge, but this is how things work. He's basically telling Tech that there's another job that I feel like is more important. I would like to go check that out. And then if that doesn't have any, I'll come back to you guys. And that's what I didn't want the whole time for Tech. Now if he comes to Blacksburg, he'll win the presser. He'll be all, nobody will know about all these things that are going on publicly, but they are going on. So give me your thoughts on that. Ultimately, I guess maybe that should be our fan question of the week. Right? Maybe that should be the fan question of the week. Do you still want James Franklin if you know that he's tried to get all these other jobs and ultimately settles for Virginia Tech? Because it feels like to me now he's settling for Virginia Tech in his own mind. Not that he is, because Tech's a damn good job. If I were a coach like that, and I know I'm biased because I'm here in Southwest Virginia, but with all the chaos in the SEC and with all the madness down in Tallahassee, and the way the Seminole Casino folks always get involved in everything, I would think Virginia Tech's gig would be just so attractive on so many levels. Easier path to the playoff. Fans who would just be behind anybody who improved the program and did it in a manner that was honest as it could be, I guess, in the NIL. It showed they wanted to be here. 8-9 wins. Then contend in the ACC, and then maybe make the playoff, right? You can do that in a short amount of time at a place like Tech. And maybe, Prometheus is maybe onto something the whole time. Maybe we don't know, and I haven't heard this, but this whole thing with the whole setup could be part of the long play here. And the more I've thought about it and the more people I've talked to, none of it makes any sense to anybody outside of the people who made the decisions. Why you have an athletic director who failed football, who is still over there. I know he's been dealing with Sexton. But that whole thing's bizarre. And maybe this is playing into it. I don't know. You might be right, Prometheus. I mean, it might be something that's more of a factor than we think. And since they're on dead silence over there and I'm only getting my things from my guy, right, it starts to feel like he doesn't really want to be here like a coach should feel like Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's job, in my opinion, is one you could come and win and this could be your final job. This is a power job with a tradition created by Frank Beamer that doesn't deserve somebody trying to play them, They're going to fix at some point the whole Babcock situation. I don't like the committees. I don't think committees do a whole lot, but they had to do that because they've taken Witt out of it. But you have Witt negotiating with Sexton, apparently. I don't understand any of that. I still don't know who the football coach would answer to. Maybe these are questions that are preventing it. I don't know. But it's a strange thing. Rodney says his live chat's not working. I don't know what to tell you there, Rodney. I'm seeing it here and people are chatting. So maybe reboot your end, Rodney. Try that and see and get back in. People says it's a lot better now. And I just checked my bandwidth on the side over here. It says it's good. I don't know. But you see, you can have good bandwidth and good internet, but sometimes the mechanisms, YouTube does this a lot. And I watch a lot of accounts, people have millions of subscribers and multiple shows and things. And they have, sometimes they have to just go out and do it again. It just happens. And Wayne's right. Let's get a coach for 20 years, not for 3. Yeah. Tech's not a stepping stone, in my opinion. I don't understand. This is a final destination, in my opinion. And I know I'm biased, but this is a final destination. And Jason says his chat quit working. Oh, I don't know. Is it back now? I don't know what to fix. I can't really do much more, at least today. I'll have to look into it after the show. Yeah, I don't know. Chat's working here for other people. So I guess it's some people and some not. I don't know. Could be something funky. Again, it is election day. You know how things go. The real test is going to be when I try to get Brian Seigla on. By the way, Brian Seigla, David Smith, and Mike Burnop scheduled today. Strange things are afoot at the Circle K, Ted. So a lot of people are hitting me up on the professional door text line. Do I still think Franklin's the guy? Yeah, he's Tech's guy. Absolutely. He's Tech's guy, 100%. He's Virginia Tech's first and only choice right now. And they've done it all the way that they're supposed to do it. So I don't know. What says my screen's showing a Broncos classic helmet in the background? Can you fix it? You mean you want to focus in on it and make it a little larger, Wayne? But that's the latest. Could something happen today? Sure. Could something have changed overnight? Sure. I haven't heard anything else. Last time I heard something was yesterday, right before I left for the Radford game, about 4. But at some point, maybe he just comes to the realization this is going to be the place. But I'm wondering if he's already creating some kind of frustration and kind of ill will by this whole long play situation. I don't know. Kind of feels like it a little bit. But at the end of the day, if he's Tech's guy and they get him, sometimes you have to deal with this throughout negotiations. You know, sometimes it's not always, hey, you want me, I want you, let's go get married. Things don't work that way. There's usually a glitch or two, right? And that might be kind of like today's show. You try to work through the glitches. And I don't think Tech's going to hold it against him. But it's interesting. We're seeing the ego come in already, and he's not even accepted the job. Franklin's unemployed, either wants the Tech job or not. Make a decision. Yep, 100%. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen much on the Tech game. I know they blew out Charleston Southern. Tech's got a very tame schedule to start. A bunch of home games against mid-majors to get off to a good start. And Radford struggled. They were 17-point favorites last night and won by 5 in Zach Chu's debut. We had a big crowd at Dedmon. How was the crowd at the Tech Charleston Southern game? You know, I heard they were going to, I heard there was a rumor they were going to bring James Franklin out there. Really? Just a 4-point game at half? Yikes. Long day yesterday. By the way, thanks to all the great comments. People were just, I bet you I got 36 comments about the Marty and Rag show yesterday. And then we had Coach Elmatian on with them. And that thing went over an hour. Less than 50% capacity. Uh-oh. That's not good. But it was fun. And I'll tell you, if you go back and watch yesterday's show, when Coach was talking about Spartan football, Marty started crying. Did you notice that? His emotions just completely overtook him. The meaning of that. He hit me up with a text later. He says, Rick, I can't tell you what it means to have this opportunity with Coach. And he thanked me. And I'm like, dude, you guys are the ones who run with it. I just provided the outlet. But that was cool. But if you go back and watch, man, I mean, he got very emotional. It was good. Very, very good. And we're going to try to reschedule Coach Elmatian on for later in the week and get his thoughts on things. Todd Grantham joins us tomorrow as well. And we'll see if he's heard how the winds are blowing. You know, he's got an agent who knows Sexton very, very well. Yeah, the immense respect there that is there from all those Giles players. And you know, it's everybody who played for any coach. It's everybody who played for any coach and what it means. And I understand completely not having Coach Hicks here. We just lost Coach Lindeberg. Thank goodness Winfrey Bill's still here so those players can revisit with him all the time. Dave Christ, Blacksburg, whomever it might be, and the impact that coaches had and still have on young people. We still have good coaches in the area. I think young coaches who came up through that get it, not at all places, but and what that means and the influence of the integrity of that is vital. It's just vital. And it's a really, really cool thing. Really, really cool thing. So anyway, well, we've already had one interruption. Let me go get Creed. He's out here freezing. He's been out. He had like a creature a little while ago, so I didn't let him in, but it looks like he's done. I'm telling you, man, it's Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom with this guy. I mean, just come on, buddy. I mean, that guy. You put him on a safari. I mean, it's something every day. I know one thing. There won't be any rodents around this house. That guy. Tech game was good to me, Paul says. You can see the guys are ballers. Yeah, it's going to take a while. That was the thing last night in talking with Coach Boudreau from Western Illinois. That's what you have to remember. All these games early in the season, you're trying to build an identity. You know, you don't get caught up in it. And he said, you know, we're not going to get caught up in wins and losses the first 2 or 3 weeks. Like they have a lot of road games, Western Illinois. They don't have a big budget, so they're out playing a lot of road games. They play Iowa next. They have a couple more Power Fives or Power Fours. So it's a building thing. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So what you see now doesn't necessarily mean anything once you get to December or even when conference play starts. So let the team develop. And it's something we're going to have to get used to, and I'm having to get used to. And, you know, Coach Chu said it yesterday, Coach Boudreau. Every year it's going to be like this where you're going to have 11 and 12 new players. Every year. Hey, Mantham, I didn't see you down there. Sorry. We've been having internet values. Wasn't ignoring you. My apologies. Welcome. Welcome to chat. We will see if you're real or a bot. So every year you're going to have so many different roster configurations from all over the place. And it's just that's what you have to swallow hard and accept if you're a fan. It's going to look so much different. Oh, he's a bot. He's a bot. There you go. He's gone. Shocker. So, you know, I don't think it's going to be an easy transition. It's not going to be for somebody who broadcasts games, but that's just the way it is. And these coaches now have gotten to the point to where, you know, I think there was some remorse. That's why guys left, the older coaches. But if you're going to have a profession in college basketball and that's going to be your livelihood, this is what it is, you know. This is what it is. You build any way you can. Coach Boudreau has a strong junior college background, so he found a lot of NAIA talent. And those kids were good last night. They played very well together. So for Tech, it's going to be a journey. That's why they scheduled the way they did. And that's why teams put together tough schedules like they do too, right? So, we'll figure it out. But don't get too caught up early in results or score margins and all that, because there's so much that goes into it. And I mean a whole lot that goes into it. Brian Seigla coming up. Hey, Swish, good morning. Brian Seigla, David Smith, and Mike Burnop today. Marva, by the way, is traveling, so she did not get back. Her flight was delayed, so she was sitting in the airport last night. She said, I don't think I'm going to make it tomorrow. Opal says maybe Bubba Creed chewed your internet wires outside because you wouldn't let him. Dude's a warrior, man. Tell you that. Like, if there's an alpha, that dude's like of the animal community out here. I mean, we have this dog next door who, it's been there for 5 or 6 years, yet always barks at me like they've never seen me before. You would think by now they would understand. But he'll bark at Creed, and he'll just sit there like, okay. He just sits there like this far from the fence, like, what are you going to do about it? And if you came over here, would you want part of this? That's a great name, by the way, Jermaine Swish Lewis. I like that. That's a good moniker. So, yeah, early hoops. We'll see how it all plays out, man. Developmental. You're literally, especially in our league, in mid-majors like Radford, Big South, OVC, the MAC, by the way, good luck to Coach Lynn tonight. They're at West Virginia, Mount St. Mary's. You're just trying to get ready for conference play because it's a one-bid league. And winning 3 games, sometimes 4 in your tournament, that's the only games that matter. It's not the case with Tech in the ACC. So I still think Tech is going to be very, very successful this year. I think they're going to develop the way that you want them to develop. I really do. So I would not worry too much about early results. What you don't want is injuries. Bo Green says you can't win, dog. You can't win. Said he doesn't have the Adrian voice. Oh, he'll get mad. I better be careful. Did he just give me? He's up there going, did I just hear Dad? Did he just give me the Adrian voice? Yeah, I mean, Tech still won by 30. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's what you're looking for is combinations and how guys develop. I mean, Mike Young knows what he's doing. He's going to be fine. He sits at the fence and tells the dog, I am speaking. Yeah. He just kind of sits there, looks at him, and he'll be getting barked at, and then he just starts kind of like grooming himself like, Yeah, he does that a lot. He'll go stretch out. The sun will be out on the driveway, and he'll just stretch out like, oh, yeah. I'll be killing again soon. Better rest up. When do I think Franklin? I don't know. I appreciate the text messages. When? Could be today, right? It's Tuesday. It's bye week. This is the week. I will say this. This is the trigger week, if you will, because it is the bye week, right? So if you're going to have a coaching announcement in season now, I'm talking about a new coaching hire, it's going to be this week. Right? That would make sense. You don't want to do it to overshadow a game week. And that's why there's so much speculation around it, and that's why Tech's trying to get this thing closed. They're ready to close. I don't know if they're trying to milk more money out of them. Maybe this is just some kind of negotiating ploy. Again, though, I don't know how much money do you need? How many multi-millions of dollars do you need? I mean, a lot of people have asked, does Sexton know the new budget? Yeah, of course he does. Is he trying to take advantage of it? Sure he is. What does Tech feel comfortable with? I don't know, but it's going to take more than $8 million to get James Franklin. I'll tell you that. I think if this deal gets announced, you're going to hear it's going to be somewhere in the $10 to $12 million range per year. I do. Think about it. They were paying Brent Pry $4 million. That's a pretty hefty investment. That's double the jump right there. Let's predict who is the next firing. I think there are coaches that have already been fired that haven't been told. Michigan State's going to change. Florida State's going to change. That's why this whole Franklin Long play is about. Wisconsin's going to change. NC State's a candidate to change. It helped them against Georgia Tech. But, a lot of people think, he's going to save his job this week. One win very rarely will change the minds of an administration who's ready to move on from a coach. Now, one loss can just ignite that flame even more, which we've seen. Patrick says, how much trouble will Shane Beamer in? A lot. Whole lot. Fired Shula on Sunday. This is the second time he's fired somebody on offense. His choice is to bring in. But again, what's going to help him potentially is that they're not going to let him go in season. Who's going to go fill these jobs? And maybe that's something, I don't know, there's a new AD there. I know somebody who knows that AD. He and Shane do not get along. So I don't know. Any chance Arians breaks the news on McAfee today? Who knows? Maybe he gives a hint. Let me know. David, you're right. If this is where he wants to be, you would think he'd want to go ahead. Hey, you give me everything. Let's go ahead and do this. Let me start getting my program in order here. But I don't know if he's of that mindset. I don't know. But I think he wants to put this off, and I don't know how much more patient Tech's going to be, but Sexton knows that Tech hasn't really talked to anybody else. They've been working on Franklin for 2 weeks, which we told you. I predicted this on the 20th of October, and he has been their sole focus, trying to get this closed and get it done. And Tech has done everything that they need to do. I've not heard one person that I talked to tell me that Tech isn't, being honest or they're trying to deny requests. No, they're looking at it and saying, okay, all right, we can do that. So this comes down to a guy who did a great job at Vanderbilt. You know what this comes down to? Phil Elmasian, when he says, hey, give me the James Franklin who interviewed for Vanderbilt. I don't want Penn State James Franklin. Guess what? Tech 100% is getting Penn State James Franklin right now. Fan, I mean, we know the NDAs were basically because of Arians. You're probably right. He does love to talk. It might be right, Fan. 100%, you might be on it. I still think Tech, if it's not Franklin, okay, whatever. In my opinion, I'm not going to sit around and go, oh, no. Because at the end of the day now, if he doesn't come, it's because he does not want to be in Blacksburg. It has nothing to do with Tech not stepping up. So you don't want this hire that has to be a home run to go to some guy, even though he might have a great win-loss record. You don't want it to come to some guy who really doesn't know for sure if he wants to be in Blacksburg, right? Ask yourself that question. And I go back to asking you this question. There had to be a reason Penn State not only chose to get rid of him when they did, but the fact that the next day they raised every dollar of the buyout money. Ask yourself that question, buyer beware. We haven't heard much about it. Sexton paraded him out there on the dreaded game day set the week after he was fired, the weekend after, right? And all they did, being so pro-SEC, was rip Penn State and make it look like they couldn't understand why it happened, blah, blah, blah. It was all a PR thing. So he did that early. Didn't take any responsibility for what happened at Penn State. That should also be a concern. Is that the way it's going to be if he comes here and they lose a game or two in a row that they shouldn't have lost? Is he going to scapegoat players? Is he going to scapegoat his staff? Again, ask yourself the question, why did Penn State make the move they did? And you can call them unreasonable expectations, blah, blah, blah. Maybe they overplayed. People said they wanted Matt Rule. I don't believe they ever wanted Matt Rule. I think that was a media creation. I know he's good friends with the AD. A lot of times agents are creating a lot of this information, right? Do you think Penn State would have fired James Franklin to hire Matt Rule, who's 0-24 against ranked teams since he's been there? Look at Nebraska. What's he done to say, hey, yeah, I've gotten Nebraska back to net? No, he hasn't. You think Penn State fan would have enjoyed that? Correct. If this goes south, Penn fans got a good perspective. Tech now knows what it needs to be done to be competitive, but they have. They've known what to do. I think you're just dealing with a guy who's making it difficult through his agent to get it signed. Tech's doing what they need to do. They understand. That's why they raised the money that they did. So Tech is there. He is Tech's guy. Unequivocally. I've been told that by several people. There's no question that Virginia Tech wants to I'm hearing something go on. What is that noise? Y'all hear that? What is that noise? Oh, hang on. Oh my goodness. It's an alarm. Did y'all hear that? That was cool. It's my clock. Hey, it's 7:00. It's all hell busting loose here. It's all hell busting loose. SOS, SOS, man down, man down. What is going on? That clock has never gone off. There are gremlins in the works. Huh. It did sound like an SOS, didn't it? Ultimately, nobody's going to care if the Franklin announcement comes because Tech fans ready for that. I think Tech has chased a name. Here's the one thing I think Tech may have erred in a little bit. They're trying to overcorrect so much for Witt's decision to hire Brent Pry that trying to win the press conference may have taken precedence over trying to find the right fit long-term, as Wayne's talked about. I mean, I got to be honest. I don't give a rat's ass if you win the press conference. If the guy comes here in 2 years, he has a losing record and he's still losing games the way the other coaches have. The Professional Door Incorporated text lines popping. I'm sticking by what I said. People say, who do you want? I'm telling you, you go down to James Madison and you bring back Bob Chesney and Matt Roan, and then you just stay the hell out of their way, and watch Virginia Tech football. Nobody, I tell you what, and I know he's become a friend. He's from my place. He comes on the show. Matt Roan is a superstar. He's going to be a Power 4 athletic director sooner than later. He went to Nicholls State. They put him in their Hall of Fame. Eastern Kentucky plans on putting him in their Hall of Fame. He got hired by Jeff Bourne, arguably the best athletic director this state has had forever. Dave Brain was a hell of an athletic director. And he's continued to build up higher what Jeff Bourne did at JMU. So, as David said, are you trying to overcorrect here to where you're ignoring common sense? You've already been burned once by not seriously making a play for a James Madison coach. And nobody can say that's going to be repeat history. Right? Nobody can say that with Chesney. But I'm just telling you, and I said this from the onset, even after I predicted Franklin to Blacksburg, my preference would be those two guys. I have watched James Madison. I've made a point to try to watch him as much as possible. The adjustments, David Teal has come on here. Second half shutouts by the defense. He adjusted his program philosophy to start two quarterback system. No, cost him the game at Louisville. He ditched it. They went to the next scheme with the guy. They chose a guy. Watch the adjustments they make. And people are going to say, well, he's at James Madison. Okay. Let me ask you this. And I've had this from some people on the text line in particular. Why do we want a guy he's beating teams in that league, not a power league? If James Madison played Virginia Tech on a Saturday night at Lane Stadium, who wins the football game? Who wins? You tell me. Who wins? They play next year. Now, we don't know if Chesney will still be at JMU, even if it's not in Blacksburg next year. Yes, they embarrassed Old Dominion, the team who embarrassed Virginia Tech and got Brent Pry fired. Old Dominion has since become bowl eligible, so it wasn't like ODU was a fluke. They almost put up 60 against Old Dominion. Again, this is like Boof from Teen Wolf. Michael J. Fox didn't want Boof. He wanted the hot blonde. She wasn't really that hot either. Boof's so much more attractive. So much more attractive. The whole movie, he chases her around and realizes that's not who he wants, even when she came around to him. It was always Boof. She was always there. Bob Chesney's always there. 2 hours, up 81. Still have trouble saying up 81 because you go down so many mountains, but up 81. You can hit the Buc-ee's. You could sign the contract there at the Buc-ee's. Have like your social media team there. Have the Buc-ee mascot jumping around. Right? Eating those brisket sandwiches, just have grease all over the place. Now that would be a nice social media play. But it's all Franklin for Tech. It's all Franklin. They put their eggs in one basket right now. And the others that they would want to talk to, who knows? Who knows if they'll be available? Now, the same thing falls true for Chesney as it does for Sumrall, Golish, Silverfield, whoever it might be. Opal says, bring me back some beaver nuggets. Is that what they're called? Beaver nuggets? I'm going to stay away from that one, Opal. Opal trying to get me in trouble. Yes, and it would not cost nearly as much money as Franklin. Correct. Maybe so, Wade. Just go get Boof. Remember at the end of Teen Wolf, they won the game. He won the game as himself. Didn't have to use the wolf. And at the end, he's got Boof in his arms, and they're hugging and kissing, spinning around. Just go get Boof. That's all you have to do. Maybe somebody should show the committee. Hey, tell you what, here's my advice. We're just going to watch Teen Wolf today. And I want everyone to write down the message that you get from Teen Wolf. Oh, it's like caramel popcorn. Or from wherever you're from, caramel popcorn. Really? Okay. Yeah, the Buc-ee's mascot and the Hokey Bird just dancing, doing like a do-si-do. Yeah. And have the Hokey Bird with like a Buc-ee shirt on. Moose Munch. What's that? Here's the thing. If you can coach, you can coach. If you're a good basketball coach, it doesn't matter what league you're in. Look at all the mid-majors who are going to cause problems this year. Just because you're not a Power Four doesn't mean you're a good coach. If you're a good football coach, you're a good football coach. You may not be in a Power Four right now, but you know what? If you're a good football coach, you know what the hell you're doing? You're still going to be a good football coach. How do I know this? Oh, what's his name? Signetti. I know, I keep harping on that, but I can't believe he was told he was too old. And I don't care. People go, oh, that didn't happen. I've had people say that. Yes, it did. It sure enough did. Indiana might win the national championship. Let that sink in. They're going to be back in the national playoff his first 2 years. You think anybody up there in Bloomington, they don't have any football history really at all. They don't really care. But when they hired Kurt Signetti, you think they were like, yay! They were probably, who? He came from where? What's that? What's James Madison? They might win the national title, and they're going to have the Heisman Trophy winner or the second guy. I think that guy at Ohio State. I think whoever wins the Big Ten will get the Heisman. It's going to be the Ohio State or the Indiana quarterback. And this is why I don't like the Heisman, because it always just comes down to quarterbacks. That's all that is. Be sure to check out Family Fencing. Give them a call. I know Jason, they're going to work throughout the winter. Fences don't wait for good weather. That's not a bad slogan. Jason, feel free to use that. Give them a call, 540-200-8294. McClellan Chiropractic. Go see Mark Hunley. He'll crack your back and then some. Great stuff. Brian Seigla going to join us here in just a little bit. Professional Door text line, 540-391-0788. Go see Travis. They want employees. Walk in, call. Tell them you heard us talking about it. You want a career? They're starting you out at $20 an hour. And great people. You will not regret it. If you're willing to work, don't go in there thinking you know everything, because he doesn't care. He wants to train you the way they do it. They're the best at garage doors for a reason, and they're out. They've got the national Walmart contract. Enough said. They are the Kurt Signetti of garage door folks. That's pretty good. I like that. I'm coming up with all sorts of phrases for people to use in their business right now. Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment presents this program on a daily basis, and they made the announcement yesterday. This is awesome. They're going to reopen Pulaski County Motorsports Park and bring racing back to the Speedway and Dragway next year. Oh, my goodness gracious. Jonathan Sweet, I'm trying to tell you, you talk about superstars. Jonathan Sweet, Tim Miller, and that whole crew, they are the JMU coaching staff and athletic director duo in Pulaski County. And watch how this brings together all other counties. Incredible, man. Little River Heating and Air, speaking of incredible, I'll see the blue and black truck all over the place. You know why? Because they're the best. Charles Lee, 540-553-2971. We're coming up on a year anniversary. When I was on a basketball trip last February, neighbor had said, I think your house got hit by lightning. What? Heard a huge crack next door. It had like a weird thunderstorm. And then it was my units. Fried. Open them up. Black, the char. Guy opens it up. Well, no wonder. No wonder your unit stopped working. Look at this. I was like, whoa. Assessed it. Estimate. Got the homeowners done. 2 days later, all the stuff's here. I leave for work. This is before I was doing the show. I come home thinking, who knows how long it's going to take them. It's going to be a damn mess out there. They were completely gone. Not one item in my yard. I walk into my house. New heat temperature gauges on, and I see these two beautiful units. I'm like, really? So go call Little River Heating and Air. I tell you these things because I want you to have good things in your life when you need it. It's so hard to get good stuff. When you need stuff fixed or stuff breaks, go get good people to take care of it. Ryan Pryor, BDST fan question of the week, and we've changed it as we've gone on here. 701 West Main Street. He works with trust and estate planning. Now that we know that James Franklin's going to try to long play Virginia Tech, do you still want him to be your coach? That's the question we're asking you today. Do you agree with Tech that it has to be a name as opposed to maybe the right fit? Ready, Set Fund, ReadySetFund.com. Again, the Floyd County High School softball team raised over $4,000, double their goal in a week because they went through the Ready, Set Fund, and there's a lot of programs that need help. Reach out to Bob Christ and do it now. BobChrist11@gmail.com, BOBCRIST, the number 11. Call the NRV Super Bowl, 382-5525. James Lawson, give him a call, 381-8011, North Franklin Street, 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg. Lawson's Mobile Home Supply. And go get your next vehicle at Harvey's GM. Just do it. I bought my last 3 cars from Brad. Just do it. We're just doing it now with that guy. What's going on, man? Brian Seigla from the Boundary Quarter Podcast. Good morning, brother. How are you?
What's going on, Rick? How you feeling?
Okay. Long day yesterday, opening basketball last night at Radford, but we had some internet woes, but I think we're okay now. I just rebooted everything. It's election day, so I'm sure there's gremlins in the
There's something in the cooking there, I'm sure.
See? All right, man. Well, we can get into the game, but let's get into the hot stuff. I know you've had some intel as well, but a lot of people thought it was going to happen yesterday, and then you had the silly rumor some other people were posting that they were going to bring him out at basketball before presser, which never happens. I was just like, wow. And people were like, wow, that's going to be great. No, it's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen. Yeah. That's not going to happen. Yeah, it was kind of funny seeing that kind of play out last night because there was a lot of people like,
I know.
What? It's been an interesting search, and I feel like we've definitely honed in on the candidate. We just need to see if we can close the deal here, right? I mean, I guess the question is going to be is how long is this going to potentially drag on, and is there a point for Virginia Tech where you say, all right, I can't wait any longer. It's either sign or we got to move on to the next guy.
100%. I mean, this is a really good job. This should not be considered a stepping stone. This shouldn't be where somebody's going, wow, I'm going to go to Blacksburg. What a step down. No, this is a destination. You can finish your career here and try to recreate. If you've got the right, now with the money and the right mindset, you can kind of recreate what Coach Beamer did. This should not be looked at as just being, oh, well, I got to settle for Tech. And it's starting to feel like, even if James Franklin says yes today, that's kind of what he's been doing here in his own mind anyway, settling for Tech. It's what it comes across like.
And I don't know if that's more of a James Franklin thing or if that's a Jimmy Sexton thing. And
well, yes.
That's the thing that we need to probably get to the bottom of and maybe come to some sort of conclusion of as we're kind of moving forward with this. Although that being said, with where we are right now, I have no problem with a 2 to 4 year headhunter coming in here and getting us back to eight plus wins a year and then moving on to the next stop, because that'll at least put us in a better position financially because you'll get the investment that comes with winning. It'll set up whoever is next a little bit better. We'll be in a position where we can probably dictate terms a little bit more in that next round. So I'm okay with the headhunter type hire, but if you get this guy and he ends up, coming in here and not working out, then, you're back where you're at now. And maybe with a little bit less commitment from the bigger donors on, throwing money at the problem.
Yeah. And see, that's another part that plays into it, right, Brian, with Tech being a contractor, because Tech fan is not going to be too demanding. Like you said, if it's 8-9 wins and you're seeing progress and the talent level gets flipped, they're going to be, they're just craving something like that. So you come here, you've got free will if you're doing things the right way and you're showing that kind of progress. And that's something I think it's an innate advantage in this job because things have been down for so long.
Yep, exactly. There's only probably, one other job that potentially looks this good, but at the same time, the expectations are much higher when you look at whatever's going to end up playing out at Florida State. Because the path to get to the college football playoff through the ACC is so much easier than the Big Ten and the SEC. When Auburn came open, I was like, there's no way Franklin's taking Auburn, because you have the same expectations as Georgia and Florida and Alabama, but you don't have any of the other inherent benefits that those schools have. And they're going to want you out the second you're not making a playoff in the first 3 years.
What are these schools going to do for coaches? Tech aside, right? And that's why another reason they want to get this done, because their guy is Franklin. They've made no bones about it. They want to get this done. And you and I were talking yesterday, they could just sit back with the popcorn and just watch. I have no idea how these other schools are going to scramble, battling one another to fill these jobs. It's mind-blowing.
Yeah, and it definitely feels like there's been a big domino effect. And I know that there's been some groundswell behind some of these coaches before this season. But for a lot of them, they went into this year feeling like their jobs are safe, and Franklin included in that lot. And then things shifted very quickly for them. So it's really interesting to see how many of these jobs are coming open. But again, the jobs are interesting because a lot of these jobs they have some prestige attached to them, but they also have a lot of expectations and probably inflated expectations relative to their situation within their conference and where they recruit.
What's your prediction? I'm asking people because they asked me. I still think I made the prediction on October 20th. I said, hey guys, it's going to be James Franklin. I'm sticking by it. I think eventually at some point they're going to come around and realize they're not as desired that they think they might be. Talking about Sexton and Franklin, not Tech. Tech's done nothing wrong in this. They've done everything they can to get him here. I still think it's going to be him, but what do you think? You think they're going to settle this over the next 24, 48 hours?
I think it gets done today or tomorrow. And if I feel like if it doesn't get done today or tomorrow, that's when I'll start feeling a little anxious.
Yeah.
But I think it still gets done. I think there's Jimmy's probably still trying to squeeze the last bit of juice out of the fruit. And I'm sure there's people trying to check boxes on some of the promises that have been made to Franklin throughout the process. So I think that once those things kind of work themselves out, we'll get ink to paper, and we'll get an announcement here within the next 48 hours. If it gets into the end of the week, that's when I'll start to be a little anxious, though.
Yeah, if you go 100%, that's what I was talking about earlier. If you go the whole bye week, and this is the ideal week for something like this to happen, if it go a whole bye week and you don't have an announcement, it's not happening, right? Yeah.
This is when you can get it done. You've got the full focus of the athletic department, or at least the football side of the athletic department, working on this thing right now. So
yeah,
done.
Yeah, and they're all in. They've given them everything they've wanted.
Yeah.
Everything they've said, okay, we got that's fine. Let's go.
We've given them everything that we have to give.
Right. I can't give you any more.
If it's in the cupboard, we put it on the counter.
What more are you going to ask of me? All right. So the other side of it, let's say that happens. Let's say we don't hear anything. Who would you like to see Tech get focused on and involved with? If it's not Franklin, is there a B for you in the gang at Boundary Corner?
When I was starting out, I said Dan Mullen. I mean, I don't know if that's. I don't think that's still probably a likelihood at this point, especially with as heavy of the flirtations as we've had with Franklin. Some of the other candidates that I had my eye on have been kind of re-upped and extended and things like that. So I'm kind of probably eyeing Chesney at this point if I had to go anywhere, only because knows the lay of the land, has done it at a pretty high level last few years here. So I think there's a really good opportunity there. Outside of that, it's really hard to say because I think there's pluses and minuses looking everywhere else, kind of across that G5 landscape.
Well, we'll play it by ear, and I'm with you 100% on the time frame. It better be 24, 48 hours, or everybody will have moved on by then. And I wouldn't blame Tech whatsoever in any way, shape, or form. Going back to Saturday, I'm on the road. I'm traveling, and it's 16-7. I'm like, hey, all right. And then I didn't really get an update until the end of the game. I'm like, whoa, I didn't score anymore. What did you see? What happened to Tech, their offense, after they got such a good start?
I'll start with one little stat that kind of tells you most of it. That's 3.8 yards per play.
Yeah.
I'll move on from that. 76 total passing yards and less than 50% completion.
Yeah.
This is classic Virginia Tech offense with Kyron Drones as the starting quarterback. You have one outing where you feel he didn't go out there and light the world on fire, but he was effective with his legs. He was when he was connecting on passes, they were going down the field. We were getting positive yards off of it, and this was just the complete opposite. The leading receiver in this football game for Virginia Tech was Aiden Green, 1 catch, 17 yards. You can't have that against any opponent in the ACC, but definitely not an opponent that's ranked like Louisville. It was just a very, very poor and uneven offensive performance. I felt like the defense did as much as they could to kind of keep that thing close for a good while, but eventually when you're on the field that much and your offense isn't generating the yardage that you need to score the points to really take advantage there, it gets to a point where they break a little bit. And that's not even talking about, a couple of the special team snafus that we had during the game. So it was really just the inconsistent play that we've seen of this offense in the last few years, just kind of, thrown out there again. And, Kyron had a decent game on the ground, but it seemed like Louisville was content with letting him get his and was going to shut down the running backs, and they did a pretty effective job doing that. And really just they said, Kyron, if you're going to beat us, go out there and beat us, whether it's with your legs and or your arm. And he did okay with his legs, but had one of his probably poorer performances throwing the football of his career.
What do you guys have going on this week with the Boundary? What's great about when you guys come on a little later, if something breaks, you'll be right there. You'll go live, I'm sure, immediately with everything. So that'll be great.
We're hoping something breaks today so we can just have a nice little fun conversation as planned tonight, But if not, I think we'll probably do a one of those emergency episodes, either tomorrow or Thursday, depending on when the news drops. But we're planning on covering it as it happens. But we're going live tonight to talk a little bit about Louisville and maybe a new head coach. We'll definitely run through some of that speculation. So, come check us out tonight at 9. You can, all over X, all over YouTube. And then we'll have that episode up the next day on boundarycornervt.com.
Do you guys also stream on Instagram? I had somebody ask.
We do, yeah. It's sometimes it's a little finicky.
I know. Yeah.
But when it does go through, it's pretty nice. Yeah, so we're on Instagram as well. So if you want to check us out there, it's Boundary Corner VT on the gram.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thanks, brother. And hey, we'll be watching, man. Hopefully, like you said, maybe we'll be watching you guys discussing a new coach later. We'll see.
Let's hope so. Let's get the James Franklin smoke is in the air. Let's see if it leads to anything.
It is. All right, brother. Have a good day. Rest of your day, man.
All right, Rick. You too.
Thanks, Rick. Check them out at the Boundary Corner. They do a great job. It's a lot of fun watching the panel, man. They get everybody on there, and it's great. I mean, it's absolutely great. Mike Burnop comes up just a little bit later on. 8 o'clock, as a matter of fact. And David Smith is with us right now, the Radford Hall of Famer. What's up, man? How are you?
My man, good morning. Good morning. Happy morning after the first game, Rick.
We got a lot going on. A lot going on in the community right now.
Well, this is November, so baseball wrapped up. Did you all ever even talk about that Dodgers game, by the way, Rick? I mean,
not a whole lot. We did a little bit.
That's all right.
It was a great game 7. I think the whole game 6, the sour with the ball being under the fence kind of soured some people a little bit. Yeah.
That's still well. I know as a Padres fan, you probably just
I don't want to talk about the Dodgers.
Well, listen, I'm a Yankees fan, so I'm not thrilled to see Toronto.
That's true.
Either. So you and I are we should both be sour about it. How about that? So why I bring it up, I don't know. But listen, happy for the Highlanders to get that win last night. I guess they play again Friday, and then I'll see you in Chapel Hill next week.
Yeah,
we'll be down the road for that. So, but Rick, NFL, here's a couple takeaways, if I may, sir. If I may. Halfway point in the season, coaches of the year, Mike Vrabel or Shane Steichen. That's a pretty good one. That both teams.
Yeah.
Who had the Colts and the Patriots at the top of the AFC midway through? No one. Watch this. There are three 7-win teams in the league: Colts, Patriots, and your beloved Broncos. And once again, you can be. I see the skepticism. Fine. If you were 2-7, would you take that? No. Listen, you play on Thursday. You have a chance to get a long bye and be 8-2. And don't forget, y'all are undefeated at home. That mile-high advantage. Take it, brother. Take it.
I know. Well.
I'm just telling you.
I know. They're winning games. They're finding a way to win games, but they need to start.
They know it.
They need to start looking a little better. They look good against Dallas, but Dallas is terrible. So,
as we saw last night, and in fact, I think Dallas may be worse than we even thought last night. And I didn't think they were great going until last night. That's embarrassing. That
was embarrassing.
That was really rough. So, but anyway, so there's kind of the takeoff on a couple takeaways to start the season off, and so we are now beyond the halfway point. It is week number 10 coming up, and
wow, really?
It's crazy. It's great, and yet, Rick, there are some teams that still haven't played but 8 games.
I know
9 more games to play. College football's down to mostly the last 3 for most players, most teams, and the NFL has plenty more to go. So there we go.
All right. Well, where do you want to start whirling around the league from this past week?
Let's start with the Chiefs-Bills. Start with the Chiefs-Bills. That was a marquee game over the weekend, probably one you were keeping your eye on a little bit. And for Denver Broncos fans throughout this podcast and throughout YouTube, it went Rick Watson's way, ladies and gentlemen, as the Chiefs fell to the Bills 28-21. And for those of us who've been following this rivalry through the regular season, the ones that want to compare this to Brady and Manning, Mahomes is Manning in this part of it, or actually probably more like Brady, because Buffalo almost always wins this regular season game. The Chiefs, even though Patrick Mahomes was hit 15 times in the game. 15. Here's the funny part. There were 3 offensive linemen from week 1 that were not in that game. And it showed. But here's the thing. The NFL does not care about your problems. Hey, you don't have great linemen in there, we'll blitz you more. We're going to make you feel it. 44% completion percentage by Mahomes, worst of his career. Chiefs defense could not stop the run. Meanwhile, and we can't get too complacent about this, Josh Allen's really good, Rick. I mean, there are times when he really starts to play like at an elite level. He's a big, statuesque guy who can run like the wind. He can throw it through a tunnel, and he's strong as everything. 88% completion percentage. Their defense on that day, Rick, that Buffalo defense was good enough that could help them advance more. They had some issues. Ed Oliver's out. They had some games that we kind of were like the Miami game earlier this year. They weren't quite themselves, and that made no sense. But you look around the league, everybody's almost had a dud here and there. But if you can have a dud and keep winning, that's why I keep talking about the Broncos. It's not going to be perfect throughout this thing, because as much as we want to say there's tops and bottoms to the NFL, that Rick, it's really everybody's pretty close. Coaching can tip that thing a little bit. And if you got bad coaching and bad players, you got no shot. If you got bad players and a pretty good coach, you can kind of make it. If you've got great players and great coaches, you can be okay. If you've got great coach and so-so players, it'll be okay as well. And Buffalo right now, I mean, McDermott's been on a hot seat here and there. I'm not quite sure why. They win the East every year. They almost always host at least one playoff game, and they just can't get past the Chiefs. Well, they did on this day. Their issue has always been, can they get past the Chiefs? The Buffalo Bills' issue this year, though, Rick, could be the New England Patriots, who right now, if the season ended, they would actually win the AFC East. And if the season ended today, as good as Buffalo played the other day, they would actually play a road playoff game at Pittsburgh. Weirdly enough, as good as they are sitting at 6-2, they would still fall behind the division-leading Pittsburgh Steelers. Meanwhile, Mahomes 250 yards on 15 to 34 completion, 15 out of 34. Josh Allen was 23 of 26, 273 yards. This video game numbers. And so the Buffalo Bills sitting at 6-2. They get a bye week almost. They get to go play Miami this week. Meanwhile, the Chiefs actually do have a bye week. They are off this week. They're at 5-4. And if the season ended today, the Kansas City Chiefs would be the 8th seed, and they would absolutely be out of the playoffs. So it's safe to say that it's not over for them yet, but it's getting late soon, and they've got a schedule down the road. It's not going to be easy. They still got to go to Dallas, I think, on Thanksgiving. I think they still got to entertain the Colts.
I have a prediction that the NFL is going to make sure the Chiefs are in the playoffs. All right, the Seahawks go to Washington. That area up there is right now the home of both the most disappointing stories in the NFL, Baltimore and the Commanders. Oof. And now they've lost, I believe he's going to be out for the year, Jaden Daniels. And we just talked about his injury concerns. It's RG3 all over again. Did you see the side-by-side of the same part of the field where they got hurt against the Seahawks? Just like what happened with Alex Smith and Joe. It's scary. It's weird.
Scary. It's really
weird. But that whole organization is built around Jaden Daniels, and he is obviously not going to be able to stay healthy in his NFL career. And this is what we're looking at now.
And Rick, he's your guy, and I think
I hate it.
I think he's going to have to. I think there's just going to. First of all, even if he could come back, don't let him come back.
Don't let him come back. There's no.
Don't let him come back. You have to take the ball where they take his helmet and make sure he doesn't come back. The funny part, not funny, haha, but funny, strange about it is I remember when Lamar Jackson came in the league, and he was slightly built too. And I was sharing this conversation with my brother-in-law over the weekend, I believe it was. He's physically going to need this time to get bigger and stronger. I just feel that that's probably what they should do. Shut him down. The season's probably going to be what it's going to be. You know, they made that run last year, and that's okay. But they've also got a ton of other injuries too. I mean, they lost folks. I mean, Terry McLaurin signed that deal. He held out, signed the deal. He's a super guy. He's been hurt all year long. And so right now, if you're at Washington, you chalk this up to a year where we've just got to get right. You hate to say that just halfway through an NFL season, but you've got no shot without Jaden Daniels. So I would take him out. And I'm not so sure what he was trying to do that late in the game, but players want to play. It was 38-7. And Dan Quinn has now come back and said that's on me to make sure he was safe. Just hand the ball off or get him out the game, concede that bad boy at that particular point. And so the interesting part that gets lost in all this, Rick, that I'm not sure we paid enough attention to, those doggone Seattle Seahawks are 6-2. And Rick, all they do is win on the road. Now, what was Seattle known for during the Russell Wilson heyday and the Legion of Boom is they were incredibly difficult to beat with their 12th man at home. Interestingly enough, if I'm not mistaken, they've won like 10 straight road games under Mike Macdonald as a coach. They have their 2 losses was a 4-point loss to the Niners in week 1 and a 3-point loss to Tampa Bay. Both those games were in Seattle. That's the only losses they have. They'd be 8-0, and we'd be talking a whole lot differently about them. You better pay attention to these Seattle Seahawks. The Baltimore Ravens miss Mike Macdonald because their defense has not looked the same since he took the head coaching job as the second youngest coach in the league. And so shout out to Seattle Seahawks, 6-2 overall, 4-0 on the road. They will play the Cardinals next week. Meanwhile, poor Washington, heavy as the head that wears a crown, that top seed or that high level schedule from your wins last year now parlays into a tough schedule this year. They've got to play Detroit at 4:25 on Fox on Sunday.
Steelers knock off the biggest fraud in the league, the Colts, and they did it relatively easily. The Colts have benefited from a very easy schedule, beneficial call, and a horrible – by the way, what the Texans did to block the Broncos field goal early in that game was much, much more obvious, than what the Broncos got called for. All right?
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway,
glad
Steelers,
you're not sour about it. Glad you're over it.
Yeah, it should be 8-1. Mike Tomlin says, "No, you're not coming in here, and you're not going to beat us." And it didn't happen. And hey, kudos again, Aaron Rodgers. This is cool. I'm really not the biggest Aaron Rodgers fan as a dude. I tell you what, it's fun watching him play under Tomlin. You can see the immense respect, and this is a connection that he needed to make a few years ago when he was going to lead Green Bay. If he'd have been with Tomlin from the get-go, who knows? He didn't have the right coach, but boy, it's meshing very well. It's kind of fun to watch.
Well, here's the funny part. There's 2 polar opposites right there in being with you on the show for 3 or 4 years now. Number one is you and I felt that Aaron Rodgers had just soured that Green Bay organization at the end, and he didn't have to. This version of Aaron Rodgers, a lot more humble, understanding where he is, his respect for Mike Tomlin, which everyone has respect for Mike Tomlin. It just shows, and it's so Pittsburgh-like to see them doing this now. But saying all that, they had lost 2 games in a row and had not looked like themselves. I mean, look, Rick, you and I are old enough to remember there are certain teams that always look certain ways. The Pittsburgh Steelers are physical. The Baltimore Ravens, physical. Chicago Bears, defense. Physical. It doesn't matter what era it is. They match the moniker of those respective cities. And Pittsburgh had not done that the last 2 weeks. And this isn't just fluff. That's the truth. They had just not looked that way. But were the Steelers going to lose 3 straight games and not look the same? Here comes the Colts in as hot as anything. And you're right, Rick. And this has been said by many. The Colts were 5-0 at home coming into the game. But the teams they beat, the Dolphins, the stolen game against the Broncos, the Raiders, the Cards, and the Titans. So, again, don't apologize for winning. I get it. But they had not been tested, quite frankly. Their losses were to the Rams and then, of course, to the Steelers. And so there you go. And so with that being said, we did not know what to expect. Daniel Jones, all that, hey, Danny Dimes, has he been rejuvenated? Give him credit for what he's been able to do. Pittsburgh decided to put it to the test. He had 5 turnovers in the game. He had 3 interceptions. He had 2 fumbles. That's the Danny Dimes that everybody remembers from the days with the Giants. And although he's a much better quarterback, Pittsburgh decided to heat him up. Let's see how good he really is. And so Pittsburgh coming through in that particular game, Aaron Rodgers, 203 yards. This is the Pittsburgh Steelers formula. This isn't 2010 Aaron Rodgers where he can carry the team. This is an Aaron Rodgers that has to be complimentary. And Rick, quite frankly, he's done a nice job with it. I still think they need another weapon or two, and they really kind of play very, very conservatively. But they can win games this way. And what is that translated to? They're 5-3 right now. They're still 2 games ahead in the division. But as the indication on our mirror says, objects in the rearview mirror are closer than they appear. They know the Ravens are coming. The Ravens have won 2 straight games after being, I think they were 1-5. They are now 3-5, and they're 2 games behind. Meanwhile, Cincinnati and Cleveland are behind them But a 2-game lead is a 2-game lead, and they get to go play the Chargers on Sunday Night Football, which will be a real big game for them. Meanwhile, the Colts, they got to go to Germany and play the Falcons at 9:30 in the morning on Sunday, and we're going to find out real quick if the Colts are who they say they are, if their record is what they say it is. At 7-2, they're not going to give any games back, but we're going to find out if they can rebound from this, and I'll leave you with this on this game, Rick. Daniel Jones threw for 342 yards in game, but he threw it 50 times. Meanwhile, the best player on their team is Jonathan Taylor, and Pittsburgh decided he wasn't going to beat him. He had 45 yards in the game, by far his lowest output of the season. So this is, to me, what's great about the NFL is you get to continue to prove if the week that you played was a fraud or not. And nothing changes more than football, nothing at all. And for the Steelers, look who they've got coming up, Rick. They got the Bengals, at the Bears, the Bills, and at the Ravens. And so it doesn't get any easier for anybody in the league. It certainly don't get any easier for the Steelers when you play in that division. And I'll just want to throw one little caveat out there. Don't assume that the Cincinnati Bengals, as horrible as they are on defense, can't beat you, because for some reason, Joe Flacco has turned the clock back. He's throwing the ball all over the yard, the most yards ever by a quarterback at 40-plus years old on Sunday, 470 yards. Unfortunately, the defense couldn't stop Cave Spring. They gave up 47 points in the game as the Bears beat them late. So shout out to the Steelers. They're top of the division, but I believe they know that it's not quite done yet.
Well, one more, and this is why you play the game. Carolina having a resurgent year. Staff had to get the program going a little bit. Finally getting some solid play out of their quarterback, better offensive line play, and they go to Green Bay. And that's one of those losses that Matt LaFleur very seldom registers on his coaching record. That was as big a surprise as we've seen all year, not necessarily because Carolina's a bad team, because Green Bay doesn't lose those early kicks at Lambeau very often.
No, they don't, Rick. But this is the weirdest thing about Green Bay. Green Bay's 5-2-1. That tie that always grates us, that Dallas game, which now can come back to be a pain to them.
Pretty bad, too.
You know, a couple of weeks ago when they were way ahead, they were like, that tie is working in our favor. Now you slip and lose a game like this, and you wonder, where's that tie going to fall for us? But here's the other part, Rick. They've got 2 losses. Their other loss was to the Flacco Cleveland Browns team at 13-10. So at these losses, again, Carolina is a 5-4 team. So we got to give them a lot more credit than maybe the Browns at this particular point. But Green Bay, for where they want to try to go, they can't have these losses. They start the season off. They beat Detroit convincingly week 1. Then on that Thursday night, they play Washington. Both of those were home games. And so they're 2-0 early in the season. And since then, they have been kind of, there's a 3-2-1 since then. But this loss to Carolina was inexplicable. And in both of the losses, it's been their offense that has held them back. I mean, 13 points in their loss to Carolina on Sunday, 10 points to their loss to Cleveland earlier. And Jordan Love, 273 yards, 1 interception, no TDs on 26 completions. They ran for 104 yards in the game. I think the story of this is we got to start giving Carolina some credit too. They're not the walkover that they were before. Their 5 wins now, Rick, matches the 5 wins that they had last year. So they're 5-4 right now, 2-3 on the road. They've beaten the Dolphins, Cowboys, and the Packers this season. They're top 5 rushing the football this year too. And Rico Dowdell is 4th in, third in the league in rushing. Who had that? Dallas just said goodbye to you, and no shame on them. Javonte Williams has run the football really well, but Rico Dowdell with 130 yards rushing in the football game, 33 carries, 163 yards against a pretty good Green Bay defense. And so you got to give Carolina credit as well. Bryce Young was not spectacular in the game, only 102 yards, only 11 completions in the game, 48% quarterback rating. But they won the football game. Carolina is now at 5-4 and hanging in there. They're in the mix, as they would say. And it's just, and you're happy for them, Rick. They have just been through it. You know what I mean? Since the heyday of Cam Newton and, Christian McCaffrey, what have you had to root for Carolina? And in our region of the world, with Washington now being down, you're certainly glad to see Carolina in the mix. They will play the 1-8 Saints on Sunday with a chance to go to 6-4. Meanwhile, for Green Bay, it's not going to get any easier. They will, on Monday Night Football, they will play the Eagles. The Eagles are coming off a bye. They will host the Eagles. It'll be a really good game next Sunday night in Lambeau Field. The 6-2 Philadelphia Eagles will be coming to town as Green Bay tries to right the ship. Now, knowing Green Bay, they'll see the Eagles and they'll play fine. They'll play fine. But they probably ought to do that because this was a chance for them to separate because Detroit found the banana peel as Minnesota beat them 27-24 on Sunday. So Green Bay had a chance to separate. And right now they are in a situation where they got to recover.
Tyler Kraft out for the year, by the way.
Tough loss.
All right, who's the hot four now? How's it looking this week?
This is probably one of the toughest hot fours I had to go through, just because there's a lot of teams that kind of deserve to be in there. There's 3 7-win teams, and we value wins on this particular portion of the program. I dropped the Colts from 1 to 4. They're 7-2 right now. My concern with them is they've got to show it to me against a really good team. They lost to the Steelers 27-20, and they will host the Falcons actually on Sunday in Germany, if I'm not mistaken. I got your Broncos at number 3, brother. They're 7-2. They're on a 6-game winning streak, 4-0 at home. 4-0 at home. The 18-15 win on the road against the Texans team, who's a physical team, Rick. A team right there will bludgeon you. When you play that Houston Texans team, win, lose, or draw, you're going to know it for a couple of days. So take that win on the road and don't complain about it. You all are home for the Raiders on Thursday night. You turn around and win that game, be the first team in the league with 8 wins. And here's the thing, and the Chiefs are on a bye week, so they can't make a move either way. It's a chance for you to get ahead of them. I think they come back next. I think their next game is against you all in Denver, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
They return.
I think so.
Yep. Here's another team we hadn't even spoken of this segment of the program today. LA Rams. The Rams are 6-2. You're a Sean McVay guy, the second version of McVay.
Yes.
The version that said, I think I do want to keep coaching.
I care again. I care more now. Yeah.
I'm back. And you were bought in from the jump. You said, Dave, I think he's going to be the guy that's going to come back and show everybody that I was flirting, but I'm serious about it now. Well, his football team's serious about it. MVP candidate Matthew Stafford. Probably the most underappreciated throw of the football we've ever seen. I love that guy. Oh, Rick, all those years that he was in Detroit, he never complained. He never whined. He just was out to getting his head beat in. Yeah. He deserved a ring. They may be in the mix here as that NFC West has got 3 teams with 6 wins. That's kind of crazy. And speaking of which, they beat the Saints to death. Their only 2 losses was at Philly by 7 and against the Niners, who they play this week at 4:25 in San Francisco to try to revenge that loss. And the New England Patriots at 7-2. All right, at the top of the hot 4 this week. They won against the Falcons. Their 6th straight win. They will play at Tampa Bay on Sunday. Shout out to the Patriots. No one had them on the bingo card being this high up, although you and I both knew when Mike Vrabel got the job, we knew things were going to be way different for the New England Patriots. So there's the hot 4 for this week, brother.
All right. How'd we do on our picks last week?
Not bad, Rick. Not bad. 3-2 for you, sir. 4-1 for me. The 2 losses for you were close. You had the Chiefs and the Raiders. So you actually took 2 AFC West teams to win, and they both lost, and so that helps you. So in a backdoor way, good for you. My only loss was
don't mind losing those.
I took the Commanders, and as bad as they lost, I should have taken 2 losses for that. But anyway, as the season stands, you're at 16-14. I'm at 17-13. So we're 1 game apart. As we move into week number 10, the Bengals, Cowboys, Titans, and Chiefs are all on a bye. So we will start with some pretty good games this week. We got the Patriots at the Bucks on Sunday, Rick. The New England Patriots 6-game winning streak are at Tampa, who's coming off of a bye at Tampa. 1:00 on Sunday. Florida Heat. Who do you like?
I think I'm going New England. I think that's a Mike Vrabel special.
Ooh, all right. I'm going with the Bucks coming off of a bye. If the Patriots pull this one off, Rick, I'm convinced anyway, that'll be a big time deal to get to 8 wins and keep Buffalo at bay a little bit. Good one there. The Jags at the Texans. The Jags found a way to eke out the win over the Raiders at the Texans, who are coming off of a loss to Denver. Jaguars, Texans.
Where's the game?
At Houston.
Lost a lot of respect for D'Amico Ryans, the comments that he made about the hit on his quarterback when he completely dismissed when his player took a dirty shot at Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville last year, and he acted like it was no big deal. The Bronco kid didn't do anything wrong. He really fell on my level. The hypocrisy there is just disgusting.
These coaches, I won't defend him, but Rick, there is just the level that people go to defend is so irrational with coaches in these moments. And we know he's a good enough guy, but that was a mistake. That was a mistake.
Yeah, that really bothered me. So because I don't like him anymore, I'm going to go Jacksonville.
Well, there you go. Well, I mean, again, that's solid, concrete information as to why you make a pick.
Exactly.
I don't like him anymore.
Exactly.
I don't like him anymore.
Yeah, I don't have
So
respect for that guy anymore. Because if you saw the replay, the Bronco kid didn't do anything.
No question. And everything I saw and read about it it's like, look, it was a late slide.
Yeah.
So
the guy's already in the air, and he tried to turn his head. It's like.
Yeah, it's football. It's football. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Rams at Niners. 6-2 versus 6-3. 4:25 game on Fox on Sunday. A lot of good games on Sunday.
Game of the week, man. Go Rammies. Go Rammies.
Oh, I should have known you. I'm going Niners, bro.
McVay,
I'm going
baby.
Niners.
The McVay train. Me and Stafford and McVay all the way to the Super Bowl.
I'm my brother and brother-in-law like the Niners. I'm more of a Shanahan fan than you are. So So we're gonna see here.
There you go. Which coach is gonna win?
So far, you and I have not picked the same team. So it's 3 down, and we can see what we do for these last 2. Eagles at Packers. That's the ABC Monday night game. Eagles at Packers. Eagles coming off of a bye. Packers coming off of that horrible loss to Carolina in Lambeau Field.
I'm going to go with the Eagles. The Kraft injury is really taking a lot of oomph out of that offense. That's going to really hurt them. Eagles are fresh. They're going to fly through Lambeau like they own the place. The Panthers chewed their way through, and now the Eagles are just going to fly right through.
I actually take the Eagles fly in that one too. Interesting enough, Kraft along with Brock Bowers are two of the. How about this tight end resurgence that's going on, right? These guys are everything. Even Dalton Kincaid had a big game for Buffalo on Sunday. So, and Steelers at Chargers, that's the Sunday night NBC game. Like I said, this lineup of games on paper, it's a really good matchups on Sunday throughout 1 o'clock hour, 4 o'clock, as well as the 8 o'clock hour on Sunday and Monday. Steelers at Chargers. Steelers coming off of the win against the Colts. And the Chargers found a way to win their game in LA. And they're 6-3, by the way. And right there, Rick, with you guys. By the way, before you answer that, there are 3 teams that in your division that are top 8 in yards allowed on defense. Your Broncos is like 3rd or 4th. And then the Chargers as well as the Chiefs in yards allowed. Top 8 in one division. That's pretty crazy defensively. Yeah. So for what that's worth, that may not influence you here, but Steelers at Chargers, who do you like?
I'm going to go with the Tomlin-Rodgers combo. Mike Tomlin can take them on the road and win. That'd be a big win for them. I'm going to go Pittsburgh, going to L.A. and winning on the turf.
Well, they probably will take the stadium over. So there's that.
They will. They will
take that stadium over. I'm going to go Chargers, because it's just sometimes fun to go against you because we got to see how these picks are going to go. But I actually kind of feel these picks this week. 4 of the 5 games, we went Oppo. And so we will see how it all plays itself out. And that's a strong Week 10 lineup. That's a strong Week 10 lineup of picks. And I'm excited to see how this thing goes because, as you know, Rick, once Thanksgiving hits, at that particular point, we know who the pretenders are. And today's trade deadline, by the way, about 4 o'clock today. So anybody's trying to make moves, I saw my Dolphins unloaded a pass rusher to go to the Eagles for more draft picks. It's clear that we've decided to exit stage left on the rest of the season. But this is going to be a very, very pivotal week this week because a lot of things are going to happen with these matchups that could include tiebreakers down the road. When you think about Steelers, Chargers, when you start thinking about Rams and Niners in terms of who's going to get seeding in the NFL playoff situation.
Well, a lot to determine, and we're only about halfway home, and so much is going to change. Some will remain the same, but so much is going to change. And boy, I don't know. I'm always marveled at the Dallas Cowboys' lack of success.
It's ridiculous, right? It's just ridiculous.
Every year, I don't know. They haven't won a Super Bowl. What, 94 was their last Super Bowl?
No, that's unbelievable. Was
that right? And Barry Switzer?
95. Well, they won it then, and then. And if you think about that game, that was Neil O'Donnell just throwing a couple of gifts to Larry Brown.
Or it would have been another, yeah.
It shouldn't even won that one. But I mean, listen, they're not going to get a ring back. But they not only have they not won it, they've not been to a conference championship since then. And so you think about that, a team.
Unbelievable.
Rick, it's unbelievable.
I don't understand.
It's embarrassing. And I sometimes you try to excuse it. Well, it's this, it's that, or the other. No. No one's got more resources. No, I mean facilities, no state taxes, all the things that set you up for success, and they just cannot get it done. It's really, really ridiculous, and it's not getting any better, Rick. And what's sad about it is Dak Prescott's playing pretty darn good football, and you almost wasting those years.
I know
he hadn't even had a sniff at the conference championship, and Rick, they're 3-5-1 right now. It's not going to get any better for them. It's not going. The only way they're going to get in is win the division. The Eagles are 6-2, so you're not winning the division.
You're not going to win the division.
And you're not getting in on a wild card. I mean, you got Detroit, Green Bay, and Minnesota. I mean, you got the Niners, you got the Rams. You know what I mean? And you've got heck, they couldn't even beat the Cardinals. The Cardinals at home beat them by 10
without their quarterback.
With Jacoby Brissett. I'm just saying, it's so incredibly funny to watch. And I just love. Listen, my son-in-law's Cowboys fan. I mean, you know him like I know him. They're insufferable, but right now I think they're even fatigued by it. And you know, Rick, like I do.
Have to be.
Rick, you know what the cause of it is too, right? I mean, it's the guy at the top, Rick.
It's him and his boy. It's
just and again, it's how much longer are fans going to continue to do it? They want to sell stuff more than they want to win stuff, and it's just embarrassing. But it's hard to excuse them. There is no excuse for their ineptitude. It's just palpable to me. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, brother.
We need a podcast to talk about this more. What do you think, bro?
Yeah, we do.
Let's squeeze one in sometime and kind of unpack this because I'm being facetious.
What's going on in Dallas? That's a good comment. Hokey Rock says Dallas is the Miami Hurricanes of the NFL.
Yeah, brother. Yeah. But at least with Miami, they start the season with optimism.
At least they get off to a good start.
At least they win enough games. For Dallas, you're just kind of saying you don't even get that. It's more conversation than anything. I couldn't agree more. But brother, let's get back on the podcast here when schedules allow, ladies and gentlemen. Sports and more with Rick and Dave. We're going to get back at it and give you guys a midseason recap out. MVPs in the midseason and all that good jazz as time permits. My man right there has got a lot of basketball going on right now. And
maybe we get Jerry Jones on with us. Maybe we can get Jerry. Maybe explain what's going on.
Come on,
Jerry, come on over.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, whatever it is, he's going to make it feel like it's not his fault.
So exactly. It'll be everybody else's. Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure I want to entertain that, but anyway.
All right, brother. Have a great rest of the week, man.
No problem, brother. We'll see you guys soon. I'll see you in Chapel Hill next week, and we'll figure out the podcast and the show from there. You got it?
Absolutely.
All right, brother.
All right, man. Take care. Good stuff.
Thanks.
Always.
Yes, sir.
David Smith joining us on the program. Mike Burnop scheduled to join us here in just a moment. His appearance, of course, always brought to you by Louise Baker. Louise is the absolute best. She's now part of the family. That's right. Louise is the Louise Baker Team Long and Foster Realtors, 540-320-0382, nrvhomes.com. And he was working late in the night like yours truly last night. We had basketball. We got it underway. And Mike Burnop's here. What's up, Michael? Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you, too. I think my computer was on daylight savings time here this morning.
Hey, that's all right. We had all sorts of glitches when we came on. I had to go stop because everybody was saying it was just – so I had to reboot. And I said, you know what, though? And you're going to laugh at this. We've been doing this now for 3 months. This is the first time something like that's really happened. How many times were we on the radio when the whole thing would just collapse in the middle of our interviews?
That's 3 times the show.
Yeah, I know. That's where the whole aluminum foil thing came out, all right?
That was Rick on one foot on a step ladder with one hand in the air with a coat hanger and aluminum foil on.
Right. And this, which I had no idea how to even do, has worked out great.
That's great. How was Halloween for you?
It was all right. It's my birthday. We've had kind of a bad family thing, but it was, it is what it is. As you get older, you don't celebrate the birthdays as much. How about you? Did you have a lot of trick-or-treaters where you are?
We get about 25 or so. Coach Beamer's across the street, so they always come to his house. They know they're going to get nice treats. So they slide up to his house, and then they come over to my house and go to the lower level. But, yeah, it was fun. They come in clumps. They're like 4 or 5 groups at a time, and then it finally ended about a little bit before 9, I guess.
Wow, that's good. That's a long trick-or-treat trail right there.
I know. I had two stragglers coming in late. I thought, you guys by yourself?
A lot of houses to get to.
It was getting chilly out there, too.
Well, by the way, I had a lot of people ask me, he goes, you always gave us critter updates on the radio. I haven't asked you how the critters around the place so far. I remember you had the lodge snake, right? Was it a couple years ago? Remember
Oh, yeah, that thing was on the front porch like living there. He'd come greet me every time I came home. So I haven't seen him in a while. Got some snake away and took care of that. But the squirrel, Samuel, that little squirrel's still out back. He's digging holes in my flower plot, planting nuts. Of course he is. Yeah, unbelievable. And the deer are everywhere. Yep, still see those. The other night, Rick, I came home and And I'm sitting there and I pull in the driveway and I see this daggone white-tail skunk. I said, okay, let me sit in my car here for a few minutes.
Yeah, just wait a little bit. Yeah.
Make sure that little fella goes away somewhere because, oh, man, they spray you. That happened one time with my dogs, my Rottweilers. And I'm telling you, the kids, they had to stay home from school. My house stunk for like a week. It was awful.
It's the worst thing ever. It is. And you have to bathe your animals in like tomato juice 3 or 4 times, vinegar, all that stuff to get. It's just, it's so bad. It's so
disgusting.
Bad.
And the bigger the dog, the worse it is because you got more to shampoo, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The bigger exactly right. Well, let's talk about hoops. How'd it go last night? Opening night win. W. Lawal played well. What'd you think?
Everything went good. The first half was tight. Charleston Southern came in ready to play, and this Bryson Blaine kid out of Richmond, and he lit them up in the first half. He shot 6 out of 12, I think, beyond the arc for the game. He was great. He kept them in the game, had 22 points. So that was a tight game at the half. It was 42-38 at the half, but they had a chance to take the lead with a 3, took the shot, missed it, fouled, and then the Hokies went up by 4 at the half. But the second half, they just dominated. There was 1 3-point shot with about a minute and a half in, and then they didn't score again until, 11 minutes left. They got a free throw. It was 27-3 to start the second half. So they kind of put the clamps defensively down and wore them down a little bit, got the ball inside. And I tell you, that Amani Hansberry, that dude is a beast. 19 points, 13 rebounds. He was a hoss now. He was just playing bully ball down inside. And then, Tyler Johnson, he had a good game. Jalen Bedford, he played well, 13 points. And then I think Neo, Neo was good. Everybody talked about Neo, and all that stuff. He had 8 points. He had 9 assists, Rick. And a couple of guys were wide open and missed shots. He would have had double-figure assists had that been the case. 2 block shots. I thought he played really well, too. It's kind of fun to watch a 6'9" dude out there running your offense like Magic Johnson. Not passing like him yet, but he had some great passes. His court vision is outstanding.
Well, and I try to remind people too, Mike, and you've done it for so many years, and Mike Young looks at it the same way. It's such a marathon. Early in November, what you're trying to do, all these new players, especially now in the NIL era, people can't overreact one way or the other. You just got to let it flow and let things develop because you're trying to build toward conference play. And I think that's a really good start for Tech, considering all their new pieces and the expectations they have for themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And then you go up to Providence this weekend. We got to play up in Connecticut on Saturday and at Uncasville, the Mohegan Sun. So it's semi-neutral court, right? Semi up in Hartford, Connecticut, and Uncasville. But yeah, Providence, I think, was picked 4th in the Big East. So that'll be a real test for them.
Yes.
And we'll see how they go. But, the 7 turnovers and 19 assists, that's more the game that he likes to play as opposed to the 18 turnovers they had against Duquesne. So much better job taking care of the ball last night.
Well, and let's go back to Saturday. I was traveling, so I kept up. It was 16-7, and I said, okay, that's the way you want to start right there. Good job, momentum. Yeah. And then at the end of the game, I see the finals 28-16. I know the offense never could really get going, could it, after that?
The second half, they just couldn't get any momentum at all. I think Louisville got the ball in the second half to start, and the defense got the stop. They got the punt, but then the offense goes 3 and out. And then in the next couple of series, Louisville went the distance of the field and had touchdowns. And the Hokies had, I think, 5 punts in the second half. I think it was 4 or 5 punts in the second half and lost the possession to them on down. So I think they had only 5 first downs in the second half. So, you were up. You knew Louisville was going to come back and play well in the second half, but the offense never had any traction, couldn't get going. It was hard to make first downs. Give Louisville a lot of credit. Kyron missed a couple guys on some passes that were open. And, his passing numbers weren't great for the game, less than 80 yards. So that's not good enough, And I thought they ran the ball okay. Not bad. He did a pretty good job in that regard. But Louisville's pretty good. And, good teams find ways to make adjustments and win. And they did a great job controlling the line of scrimmage in the second half.
Now the bye week, and then you finish up with the 3 games. None of those games are going to be easy, but they can rest up. I mean, they needed the bye week so badly. What do you think about having this second one so close to the first one?
Well, it wasn't ideal, obviously, to go 7 weeks the first time without an open date when you throw in the month of August. So, you're really looking at another 4 weeks, like 11 weeks before you get a bye.
Yeah.
And so, so now you got back-to-back almost with those 2 games. But this final 3-game stretch is going to be tough. I don't know anybody thought at the end of when the start of the season that all these teams would have been ranked at some point. Florida State started out great. They beat Alabama, and that's the next game on the schedule. That score shocked me last weekend with the way they blew out Wake. I was surprised at that. And then obviously, Virginia going on the road, winning again. And then obviously Miami. Seemed like you can't figure that team out, but they're still ranked. So, it's going to be interesting to see these last 3 and get that last push and get some other guys that are kind of healthy and banged up a little bit more. And so we'll see what happens. It's going to be fun, though. And I hate that game for Tallahassee is at 7:30 at night because we got a basketball game, Rick, at 2 o'clock Sunday. So you talk about a challenge now, trying to get back through Roanoke, right?
Yeah.
And getting back to do a 2 o'clock game, that's going to be tough.
That's going to be difficult, because you won't get out of Tallahassee until what? Oh, my goodness
Sunday morning.
Gracious. Sunday morning, yeah.
We were hoping for a noon game and try to get out there Saturday night, but that didn't happen.
No. Wow. Yeah, that's not easy.
But it's season, late November, that cross season gets you.
It gets you. It does. Mike Burnop, his appearance brought to you by Louise Baker, Louise Baker Team, Long and Foster Realtors, 540-320-0382, nrbhomes.com. Great hokey, great lady, right? Louise. We love Louise.
She's the best. Interest rates dropped again last week, I think I saw, and so that's good news. I'm just not sure how much inventory is out there, and it's, of course, a tough time of year to be moving at the end of the year, but she's got the inventory, the people, the know-how, the spots. She knows the hot spots and whatnot and where the best schools are, and she'll fix you right up if you have a need for a house or home or whatever. She's the best. Love Louise.
Yeah, we love Louise. So everything continuing to happen on the coaching front. It's just bizarre to see what's going on. Of course, Tech is still trying to find their coach, and obviously I won't ask you anything about that, but because they've done. All I know is this: Tech has done everything they need to do, and I'm trying to get that message across. From what I've been told from people that know, Tech is doing everything right in this search. Right? People need to be reminded they're doing everything right. So.
Yeah, they are. And now it's just there's so many jobs out there that these coaches that are sitting out there can be selective, right? They can work one against the other. The agents are doing that as we speak, I'm sure. I saw Witt the other day, and he said basically what he's been doing has been on the phone all the time talking to agents. It's like it's interesting that's the way that whole system works. But yeah, there's a lot of jobs out there and a lot of coaches out there, and the dominoes are going to start falling even more when some of these higher profile coaches at schools now leave to take other jobs, like that LSU job is attractive. Right. So something else is going to open. So, some of these guys can just sit and wait and be selective. So the process, I know everybody wants it to get done, get somebody in place. But these guys are smart. They're going to negotiate and try to get the best deal that they can. And they want to make sure that the money is there and the commitment is there. And we'll see what happens. I mean, it has been a little bit of a slow process when you figure Brent got fired after the third game. And now we got 3 left, right? So, yeah, certainly not going as fast as some people want. But there's a lot of great candidates out there, and I'm sure they'll do a good job of getting the best one to fit.
Yeah. The whole thing just seems very – I mean, I know that people want a quick solution, but a lot of times you don't have quick solutions, right? And people want to assume the worst, and it's not always the worst scenario that's taking place, right?
Yeah. I mean, everybody would love it to have it be done and over with, and let's go move in the right direction now. But sometimes it just doesn't work that way. You got to have, the right person. You got to have the commitments. You got to have the person that's going to be able to work with the NIL rules of today. You got to have the general manager kind of in the back pocket, so to speak, because you got to work with that guy as well. And there's a lot of moving parts, and it's not just for the first year of the contract. It's for the second year and third year, right? You got to make sure the commitment's there for that. And I mean, you look, for example, just take what UVA did. You know, they had the big donor, the big donation, and they're spending a lot of money on their football program, right? And it's paid off. And the rumors are that it's significantly more than what Virginia Tech paid this year for their program. So, you know, those are the things that come into consideration. Like, you know, is the commitment really there? What's it going to be look like down the road in three years? Because obviously this system is still so messed up. There's no guardrails. There's no salary cap. That's still a hot mess. And until they fix that part of it, you know, it's like the rich are going to get richer, and
I know.
Yeah, it's just gonna be continue to be off the tracks.
I just don't know where all these coaches are going to come from. I see, you know, Maryland. I don't. Maryland, is anybody ever going to do well at Maryland? I mean, I don't know where. If you talk about G League, the group of 5 coaches and coordinators everywhere have to just be salivating right now, because there are going to be opportunities that maybe they thought they'd never see. We could have 20 major jobs open here. It's just it's mind blowing. What's going on?
Yeah, especially when they've fallen like dominoes during the course of the season, which is unheard of, that many jobs would be open this fast, right? But yeah, I mean, you think about Marcus Freeman was a coordinator, Dabo Swinney was a coordinator. I mean, they had no head coaching experience and have done pretty well. Now, Clemson, I don't know what's going to happen down there. You know, Dabo could be an attractive candidate. They're all over him, right? He might say, okay, if you don't appreciate me, I'm out of here. He'll go take a job somewhere else. I mean, he's already said, hey, I'll go win a national championship somewhere else. You know, if you don't want me, if we haven't won enough for you, let's go. But, you know, some of that expectation he created and the team created, you know, their quarterback was supposed to be a Heisman candidate, and they were penciled in to go to the national championship, right? And they're right now lost, 4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that ship is running off course a little bit. So that's going to be fun to see what happens at Clemson as well.
Well, it's just the way this league has gone this year. I mean, you mentioned Virginia. Georgia Tech had a tough loss at a place where Tech won. I mean, Miami's Miami.
40-some.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that's crazy. That's what I said the other night on the air. I said, when you think about it, the ACC is going to be wide open next year. I mean, you see what's happened with Clemson and Florida State. I mean, who knows what's going to be, who's going to coach them next year and what's going to look like. Obviously, Miami, you know, Carson Beck's not going to be around, so they're going to have to go find a quarterback. You know, you look at some of these other programs, Haynes King is going to graduate. I mean, this thing could be wide open for the right coach. And if you get a coach that's got a good recruit, if it's a head coach now that has a good recruiting class, he could technically bring some of those with him. If he's on his team right now and has a good team, he could bring players with him off of that team. And you could have a substantial roster upgrade if you get the right coach in here that's got great recruiting ability. So, it's just this league is wide open, much more so than the path to the playoffs in the ACC is a lot easier than the SEC and the Big 12 for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, we've talked about it too, and it's so hard to find the right football coach anyway. You may think you have your guy, and then 2 or 3 years later, you're like, well, maybe we got enamored by name, or we got enamored by what had happened in the past with a hire, and then you miss out on people who would have fit your program better. And programs have to deal with this all the time. It's just so hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, just like Justin Fuente, he was the hot name coming out of Memphis, you know, back after Frank Beamer retired. And they hired him before the season was technically over. It was announced at the last game, but they had him in the back pocket. And, he won. He won 10 games the first year, 9 the second year. You know, then COVID kind of came around, and a lot of things happened. And, of course, they didn't have near the budget and money that they needed back then either. So I thought Fu was a good coach, but, you know, you needed better players. And so, and then you go there, the assistant coach again with Brent Pry, and they didn't like the way that ended, so they fired him. So, I think they probably need to get a head coach that's got experience. I think Monty, you know, has proven he's done a great job.
Yeah.
I just don't know that he'd be considered for this job, but I think he'll get a great job somewhere.
I do too.
Yeah, he deserves it. He's done a marvelous job keeping this thing on the tracks.
And I think he's going to go down. I think Tech fan is always going to remember and appreciate him no matter where he ends up for what he's been able to do with the rest of this season. I don't know how many wins they're going to end up with, but really it kind of goes beyond that, watching what this team goes out there and puts forth. And I know the offense wasn't good, but they're really playing hard. And he's done – I can't imagine – had to just be an impossible task to try to absorb when that happened. And these guys haven't cashed it in one game since then.
No, they haven't. And I tell you who's really going to appreciate him later in life are those players.
Yes.
The adversity they've gone through, the ups and downs, and the way he kept it together, kept it positive. And, I think those players appreciate what he has done. And I think they'll be lifelong friends to a bunch of those kids because, he stuck with them, they stuck with him, and I got you, you got me. And it's been amazing to watch the job that Monty has done. And I'm sure he's going to land on his feet and get a nice job somewhere. And we'll see what happens with maybe some of the assistant coaches because, a lot of those guys you feel for because they got ties to Tech, and they played here and coached here and the J.C. Prices and the Pearson Prelos. And, you just don't know what's going to happen. There's so many families in limbo. And that's who you feel for because you're coming up on Thanksgiving and Christmas, the holidays, and the uncertainty about everything and the uprooting that you're probably going to have to do. It's a tough time for these coaches and support staff and all those people that are with the program that people don't think about. Yeah, you think about the head coach gets fired and the assistants, but all those other people that aren't making a lot of money, those are the ones that could be out of the jobs, and those are the ones you feel for.
No, 100%. And bank accounts aside, that's a lot of transition to have to do. It really is. So.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, good stuff as always. At least you get to focus on hoops this week.
Yeah. How was you doing last night? Did everything go well with y'all and last night for you?
Yeah, Western Illinois, they came in there, from the OVC, and they made Radford have to earn it. First game for Zach Chu, only a 5-point win last night. So they made them earn it on opening night. Good crowd, though. Had a good crowd. It's always tough when you have both games happening at the same time, in Blacksburg and Radford. But, yeah, it was okay. It was okay last night.
No, get off the right foot and just build off of that. Got to start somewhere. So, yeah.
Exactly.
It'll be fun. This weekend will be a good test for the Hokies for sure going up to Providence. And it'll be a rugged team, and we'll see how that goes. First road game, even though it's technically a neutral site, it will be a pro crowd. But, they went to Uncasville one other time, Rick, to tell you this quick story. Back in the COVID year, and Mike Young was supposed to play Temple, I think, and Temple backed out because they didn't have either enough players because of COVID or whatever. And so they said, well, we still want to come. Can you find a team for us? And so they called Mike Young and said, hey, we found a team for you. And he said, okay, who? Villanova, and they were ranked.
That's right.
And I'll be daggone if they didn't go up there and beat them in overtime.
They beat them. That's right.
Yeah. So they got a pretty good little fun story about the Mohican Sun in Uncasville during the COVID year.
That. Yeah.
Nobody was in the gym. I was doing a game with Lays, and we're sitting up in the bleachers that were folded up. We're up in the balcony calling that game. You talk about weird now.
That's right. Nobody in the stands calling the game from, wow.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Not the best time in this country, to say the least. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Woo. All right. Well, brother, have safe travels. Enjoy your week, and maybe next week we're talking about a new football coach from Blacksburg. Who knows?
Yep, you never know. It's going to happen sooner than later, and that committee's working hard. I do know that, and they got their pecking list of people that they're going through. So they do have the number down a little bit. So we'll see what happens, what comes of it.
All right. Well, safe travels, my friend, and we will visit again next week.
Okay, sounds good, Rick. Thanks.
All right, brother. Take care. There you go. Mike Burnop joining us on the program. Great stuff from him. His appearance brought to you by Louise Baker, the Louise Baker team, Long and Foster, 540-320-0382. I'll never be able to say enough good things about Louise. She is the best. She treated my family, my brother and I, so well. She wants to be as honest as always, and she really gets involved in what she's doing. So she's the best. If you need a home or you're trying to sell a home, call Louise. Again, the good things in life. Louise is one of those. Good stuff there from Mike. It's one of those deals when you look at what's going on with Tech, and again, I know people are going to say, why didn't you ask Mike? Mike is not in a position to come on, and he knows things. Sure. Does he know things? Absolutely he knows things. He's best friends with Bruce Arians, but I'm not going to put Mike in that situation. You can't do that. You have to respect who you have on your show. And I know how this works. Not my first rodeo. It's not my first rodeo, to say the least. Anyway, tomorrow on the program, we'll have Keon Brown, Damian Sordelette, and then we're going to have Phil Omasian and Todd Grantham. Coach Omasian was so great yesterday with Marty and Rags. But, I felt like we cut him short. I always like to have Coach on, and we'll get his take on everything. And if we're talking about a new head coach, then we would do that, So, yeah. So we'll figure all that out. But tomorrow, Coach Omasian and then Todd Grantham back-to-back, and you don't want to miss that. Todd will get us – if Tech doesn't have a coach name, if nothing happens today, then we'll get updated from Todd about what's going on behind the scene. He doesn't mind talking. He knows stuff. So it'd be good to get his take on things. So yeah. Thanks to all of our sponsors, Family Fencing for sponsoring our studio here in Reiner, familyfencingnrv.com. Thanks to Mark Hunley, McClellan Chiropractic. They are the best. Professional Door Incorporated, sponsor of our text line, 540-391-0788. Do whatever you can to go up and talk to Travis Williams about working for Professional Door. We just mentioned Louise Baker, sponsor of Mike Burnop. Go see Louise. Give her a call, 540-320-0382. She's the best. We mentioned every day that we're so excited to be presented by Pulaski County Sports Entertainment. What an announcement, man, that they're opening up the racetrack up there, Pulaski County. Next year, full racing, drag racing, it's coming back. Congratulations to Jonathan Sweet, Tim, and those guys. Man, they're just unbelievable. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg. The attorney Ryan Pryor, BDST fan question of the week. Do you still want James Franklin, even if he long plays the Hokies on this because he's looking at other opportunities? National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of BDST. And the Ready Set Fund, ReadySetFund.com. If you're trying to raise money for your local high school team, whatever it might be, that's who you need to give a call or email Bob Christ, BOBCRIST11@gmail.com. His brother's Dave Christ, the Blacksburg football coach. Great family. So that's who you need to go talk to. Thanks to Harvey's GM, Brad Harvey in Radford, Lawson's Mobile Home Supply since 1997, and the NRV Super Bowl. So if you have any interest in sponsoring the program, give me a holla, and we'll fit you in. But you can read between the lines with some of the things with Brian and with Mike and what I've been telling you, that everything's in place for James Franklin to be named the new head coach in Blacksburg. They are literally just waiting on James Franklin to say yes. That's where we are with it. There's no more that needs to be done from the Tech perspective. He's going to have to come to the realization, along with his agent, Jimmy Sexton, that this is the place they want to be. That's where that is. Tech has acquiesced to all the demands. They've done all their due diligence. He is the guy they want. He is the guy they've talked to and focused on. What is he going to do? What you're watching now is what is his decision going to do. Don't go into this going forward. What's Tech going to do? Tech has already cast their die in this whole thing. They know what they want to do. This isn't about what Tech is going to do anymore. What is James Franklin going to do? That's the question. And it's an answer that hasn't come forward yet. But to Brian's point, Brian Seigla, if it doesn't happen today, and if it definitely doesn't happen tomorrow, then we have a whole new ball game to discuss. So we'll see. If anything happens that's legitimate, as soon as you hear Virginia Tech going to call a press conference addressing the future of the athletic department, that's going to be the press conference to introduce your new football coach. So if anything happens, we will put it up on our Facebook page. We have, I think, over 4,300 followers, which is amazing, on our Facebook page. And we'll have a show tomorrow talking about what that will mean for Virginia Tech. So we'll post it for you then, but I'm not going to pay attention to anything where people are just saying, hey, I've heard this, I've heard that. Well, and I've even gotten caught up in that. I try not to. I don't like to be. I get caught up in it. I've tried to give you folks, I hope you understand, I'm not trying to give you anything but what I think is good information, because I know people want it and I know you get frustrated. And I've just tried to tell you the things I've been told from someone who works at a school who obviously has a football coach represented by Jimmy Sexton. So he gets some things that most people don't. And I've just tried to keep you going along here. That's all. Hey, Jackie, how are you? So yeah, that's where we are. That's where we are. I still believe it's going to be James Franklin. I still believe you're going to hear an announcement. I think my October 20th prediction is going to be good. I think it needs to happen in the next day or two. And if it doesn't happen with him, then it all starts over all over again. All over again. So we shall see how it all unfolds here over the next 24 hours. But keep your eye to the sky today. Today seems perfect, doesn't it? Because you're coming off of the first basketball game last night. It's a bye week. You're not going to have the weekly presser. You know, teams just trying to take some time off and get juiced up for the final 3 games of the season. So it feels like it's the perfect time, isn't it? And then things can start to develop and build. But again, James Franklin and Jimmy Sexton have to want that. It's not about what Tech wants anymore. We know what Tech wants. We know what Tech has done. This is about making that connection, making a love connection. God rest his soul. If only Chuck Woolery were still around. Easily one of the top 5 game show hosts ever, Chuck Woolery. We'll have to do a whole show on game show hosts sometime. That guy was terrific. He was the original Wheel of Fortune guy before Sajak. Then he did Love Connection and all sorts of other stuff. West, that'd be nice. Marty gave us a brief overview of the current college football landscape. It won't be positive, but yeah, he would do that. Sure, he would. I'll be glad to bring that up with Marty West. Is there love and money? Paul says. Well, no, Paul. Maybe not. Good stuff. But yeah, West, I can do that. He's going to cover it. He's going to be passionate about it, but he knows the ugly stink of it, Marty. But again, thanks for all the comments about yesterday's show. And thanks to you. Don't forget tomorrow, Keon Brown, Damian Sordelette, Phil Almatian, and Todd Grantham. And again, we might be talking about James Franklin in Blacksburg, or we might not be. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. It's election day. Go vote. We'll see you tomorrow.